Watch this video to find out some very great tips from the dating guru, James Preece. My name is Diana, and I own a platform called Better Topics, where we regularly help hundreds of couples experience more love, joy, and connection, and also still have a lot of fun. Before we just get into today's video, I just want to remind you about our amazing card game for couples named Better Topics. You can get the physical deck on our website or on Amazon, US, UK, Australia, and soon Canada. And I will leave links for this in the description box below. Now, if you're not very keen on physical card games, that is perfectly fine. We have you covered because we have just launched our Better Topics app. This is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store as well. And I will leave links for this too in the description box below. The app has different levels of membership depending on which you opt with. Obviously, each one of them has different types of benefits and a lot of great and fun things you can do with your partner. Make sure to give it a try. And also, when you get your membership, make sure to use the code DI10 so you get the first month off and you get to have a lot of fun with your partner. And now let's get back to today's amazing guest, who is James Preece. Now, he's a dating expert based in the UK, and he's also named the dating guru. He has over 15 years experience, and his key areas are online dating, dating apps, body language, flirting, and romance. He is extremely experienced, and he also has his own podcast called The Love Machine. And I will leave links for this as well in the description box below. Also, side note, we had an interview with him last year in 2020 together with my husband, Robert. I will leave link for this as well in the description box below. Make sure to check it out after you check out this interview. He is also the author of 14 best-selling dating books, and he has appeared as a dating expert on various platforms like Channel 5, BBC One, ITV, Good Morning America, and many others. And interestingly enough, he has also worked with a lot of the big dating sites like Universal Pictures, Match.com, eHarmony, Total Jobs, Head and Shoulders, LastMinute.com, icelolly.com, and The Diamond Store. And now let's welcome James Preece. Welcome, James. It's such a great blessing to have you today with us. I'm so happy that we could, touch base again. As I mentioned before, the interview that I had with Robert on your podcast, The Love Machine, I will link in the description box below. And guys, make sure to check that out after you check this interview out as well.
Excellent. How are you doing? It's good to see you again.
I'm doing amazingly well. Thank you so much. I've been doing so much, helping so many people. And I'm just happy that I get to have you today to interview you because
Yes.
The Better Topics platform itself is about helping couples communicate better. And the clue is in the couples communicating better, But still, I have so many messages from people who are just dating or just trying to date, And I thought because you're the, UK's relationship guru, I thought that you would be the best person to, help them out with some answers to their questions.
Sounds great. I would love to try and help them, and I'll give the best advice that I can.
Perfect. So the very first one is a question that I got was, how can a person even find their perfect partner? So where could they look? How would they start looking? And, all the, let's say, prep initial steps that, they can do.
Well, that's a slightly loaded question, isn't it? How do I find my perfect partner? Because if you don't know who you're looking for and you're going into this with no clue about who you're going to be dating or what you have to offer, then finding your perfect partner is pretty much impossible. So I always start people off by working out what you really want in a relationship and in a partner. What are your values? What are your interests in life? What are your life goals? Your perfect partner might be someone who wants to go and move to America tomorrow and you've got no intention of doing that. So therefore, it's not your perfect partner. You've got to be aligned with the right person. And then you've got to think about, why would somebody choose to date me in the first place? It's not just about why do I have to go and find somebody? They've got to find me too. So it works both ways. So work out what you have to offer. Maybe you're an amazing cook. Maybe you can speak 3 languages. Maybe you're great with kids. Maybe you've traveled to 10 places or you've achieved these different things. Work out your own value, and therefore you'll know that you are attracting the right sort of person. And when you've got a clear idea about this, got to put a plan together to get that. And there are lots of different things you can do. Now, the world has changed quite a bit. There's not quite as many events you can go to at the moment, but events can be good, and social groups if you can find them. Online dating and dating apps. Some people absolutely hate the idea of doing this, and some people absolutely love it. The trouble is, most people get it completely wrong. They will join the dating app, put the first photographs they can find onto there and 2 or 3 lines, and then wonder why they're attracting the wrong sort of people. Or women might get overwhelmed with the wrong type of people. But if you put the effort in successfully and you really try to do it, present your best image possible, because dating is marketing, you have to market yourself the right way, then people will be attracted to you and want to converse with you. So you've got to put the effort. If you put some effort in, there could be a great resource for that. You can go and you can ask your friends to help set you up. But getting yourself out of the house and starting the journey is the very first thing you can do. People often say to me, James, I can't meet anybody. I said, what have you done this week? Well, I haven't really done anything. I'm stuck at home. Do something about it. Get yourself out of the house. Take the first steps. And before long, you'll be on the journey to meeting your perfect partner.
I love this so much, because this is something that I talk about so many times, about getting clear on exactly what your values are. What is it that you want? Because I remember before I met my husband, it was like, I think 2 months before I actually met him, where I actually sat down with myself, I made my list, and I was like, okay, this is the ideal perfect person. And at that point in time, I thought, okay, even if he doesn't meet all of them, but like the majority of them, I'll be happy with that. But at least I know what I'm looking for. You know, I've put this out there in the universe, and then the universe could actually pinpoint the exact person who would fit my list. And now I don't know if I was lucky or just very determined, but I actually found the person who meets all of my criteria on my list, including the passion, the attraction, the chemistry, the everything that, you know, all the great feelings that we have at the beginning of a relationship. And I also love the fact that, you know, you said about the online dating, because fun fact, we did this sort of social experiment with my husband, I think a couple of months ago it was, where, because with some of my friends, we were joking about certain types of pics that women especially tend to get on dating apps, which happens. And we were, you know, making fun of it, because we all been there, we've all got them, you know, and it was like, hey, whatever. And my husband was shocked, you know, he's like, do you really, guys, all of you got like pictures like that? And I said, yes, as a woman on a dating app, you know, you do get those type of pictures. You're not asking for them, and they just send them to you, you know, it's like crazy. And he didn't believe me. So I said, okay, go on a dating app, whichever you want, put a woman picture on it, you know, and a woman name and just a very brief description, and then wait. And then never mind that in about, I think 1 hour, he had over 100 messages, which was mind blowing. And he didn't even put like sort of a very out there type of picture. You know, he put like a normal picture of a person we found online. I mean, it's not nobody's actually picture. It was like a model type of picture.
A stock photo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, so many people reached out, and within, I think, half an hour, started popping the weird picture type of messages. And I told them, like, see, because dating for women and for men is different, you know, and this actually leads me to my second question is, how can someone actually approach a person these days, you know, even on dating apps or even in real life?
Well, that's an interesting question, because many men are much more scared now to approach people in the real world than they were before.
Yes.
People are always going to be scared of rejection, but now we've got the whole Me Too movement as well. Guys are scared of making a mistake and saying and doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I've recently worked with a big dating site, and they've been doing research on this. I think 60% of men are now much more nervous about approaching. And in some ways that's good, because we don't want women to be approached by the wrong type of guys inappropriately. But women say to me, but guys never approach me anymore. What do I do? And the other thing is, when it comes to online, women often sit back and wait for the men to make the first move, which isn't a great strategy either. Because if women just sit back and wait for that to happen, they've got to have a very, very long wait, because all the men in the world are going to contact them, and they have to start filtering out and deleting all the unsuitable pictures and unsuitable guys on there. I say that if you're going to go for a job, you wouldn't apply for a job and then just wait for every job in the world to come to you, because you get overwhelmed. They're going to work as a clown this week and they're going to work at McDonald's. It's completely inappropriate. You have to target what you want, by filling in a profile the best you can, talking about what you want, and you go for it, and you put a stamp on the letter, which is like a good picture, and then you go and you target and you reach out to the guys that might be a good match for you. And if you do that, you're the one that's in control. You are the one who's the picker and doing the choosing. And that's much more valuable. And it's not about being forward. It's about making yourself known, just saying hi, smiling at someone in the bar, the same sort of thing, making no, it's okay to come and approach you. Because guys won't do that even in real life. They won't come and say hello to you, particularly if you're with your group of female friends. That's often a barrier. And then women sit in coffee shops waiting to be approached. They go to the gym to be approached, and guys won't do it. And I said, why? They're in the gym, they've got their headphones on. It's a barrier. They're in the coffee shop, they're reading a book, or they're playing on their phones. They're on the train reading the newspaper. They're all just barriers. If you want to be approached the right way, make yourself approachable. Look around, smile, get someone's eye contact, ask them a question. If you're in a coffee shop, ask them what sort of muffin they're going to have, any drinks they recommend. Men and women can do this. All you're doing is being friendly. And all approach is, in general, whether it's online in real life, it's just being friendly, making yourself known and showing an interest in somebody. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's flattering.
I love that. So me as a woman as well, and sorry, remembering the times when I was dating, I do tend to come across quite blunt from the beginning. And I know this used to put off so many people, but then I used to say, well, whoever gets scared of that much, they can just stay away. It's fine. Yeah. But on the other side, I have male friends who are still dating, they're in early 30s and they're still dating. And one of them, I was talking to him because I was trying to understand and trying to get him to actually, go out there and, just, as you said, friendly, approach people. And then he said, yes, but, I'm going to the gym. I see this nice girl. I'm looking at her. I see her looking at me, but I cannot tell whether she's looking at me because she likes me as well. So I should go and approach her, or she's just looking at me because she realized I'm looking at her and then she's confused as to what I want. And he's like, I don't know what to do, in those type of situations. Like, because obviously if she would give some clear signals that, or at least smiling, he would make his first move. He's like, if she's not smiling. And this comes from a guy that he built up his courage many times to go out and approach women. And sometimes that approach backfired in such a wrong way, as in the women felt threatened maybe, or very uncomfortable in a way, although they're like looking at him and sometimes even smiling back at him. But then when he would actually make his move, they would just back off in a very scared type of way. So he's like, I don't want to be, in trouble because I'm just talking to her and then she feels threatened that I'm attacking her or something, So this is where I'm not sure how we can, help people or maybe educate them on what the exact signs are, when is someone actually interested in you or not?
It's a good question because people don't always reveal when they're interested, because everyone, again, is scared of making the wrong move and attracting the wrong sort of people. Women often have what I call a bitch bubble around them, which is you can identify with this. It's a bubble around you. Don't come near me. Don't come and approach me. I'm busy being a bit miserable, not avoiding eye contact. And that's for your own preservation, for your own safety, and to stop weirdos coming to approach you. But by having this bubble around you, it stops the right guys coming to approach you as well. So again, you be the chooser. You find a guy, go up to them and make the first move and ask them how they're doing, ask their advice on what shirt they should get for somebody else, or anything at all like that. And if you're going to approach a lady, then you've got to do it the right way. You can't be too forward. You've got to display open body language. You can't be confrontational. Maybe have your feet pointing away so they know it's just a quick conversation. Just ask them something. Ask them for directions. Ask them something small first and break the ice with them. Going in and paying them a compliment, as many people do, can backfire. It's much too forward for someone you don't know. It's not worth it. Because there's a whole load of pickup artists out there that I don't associate myself with because it's terrible. And they will teach you one or two lines to go and hit on women and use this. And the trouble is, if you do that, you break the ice and they think, what's this guy after? Then they've got no idea how to continue the conversation, what to do next. Yeah. So imagine your friend might have been okay making the first move, getting in there, and then suddenly there's no rapport has been built. They're not sure what's happening. They're just scared. They want to get away. And he's got a forceful body language almost blocking them from getting away, and they're going to feel intimidated. And strangely, a lot of men are now intimidated by women as well, because lots of women that I work with are very strong professional, successful ladies. And in their
Yes.
work mode, they're very strong at doing this. But when it comes to meeting men in real life, the guys are intimidated by that. And the guys aren't in touch with their feminine side. So it has to be a balance. But I think there's no harm in approaching people. Just go and say hello to someone and just be nice and ask them a question, because people do want to help in life. If you ask them in the gym, how do you use this particular weight, or ask them any sort of thing at all, in a supermarket, anything that you think I might be able to cook with these beans, anything different to make them laugh. I've had women approach me in bookstores as well, looking at books and asking me what books I'm reading, any thoughts on that, or they've asked me about the pick and mix, the sweets, or someone else likes sweets. What a great icebreaker. We've got something in common. That's what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're just being friendly, and more friendliness. The world needs more happiness and friendliness right now.
And let's say someone actually makes those first moves and, they use like a sort of very nice, light, funny type of approach in the beginning.
Yeah.
When do you think it's best to actually ask them for, go out for a drink, or maybe even their number? Or how, should you just like do it once? Let's assume a bookstore, okay? Someone sees you in a bookstore, they like approach you like about a book, something, haha, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then what?
Well, bookstores are actually a really, really good place. And I recommend a lot of my clients do this to meet people, because if you've got a conversation started on a book, then often there are chairs nearby where you can go and sit down and have a conversation. It isn't a public library, it's a bookstore. And then lots of bookstores have also got coffee shops built in or very, very near. So what I would say is, if you build the rapport, have a nice friendly chat for about 10 minutes. So do you know what? I'm really enjoyed talking to you. Do you fancy a quick coffee? And you frame it as a quick coffee. Then they know they're not going to be stuck with you for ages and ages and ages. You grab a coffee next door, get on with it there and then. If you exchange numbers too quickly, it's very likely they're going to forget who you are, or they're going to be too nervous because you don't really know who you are. You could be some weirdo. So while the interest is there, go and get them to go for a coffee with you then. I don't normally recommend coffee dates in general if you've already pre-arranged them, but if you're going to be spontaneous, they're ideal. They're non-threatening, they're quick, they can be over in 15 minutes or they can be over in 2 hours. It doesn't matter. But while the interest is there, while they're not doing anything, because if people are wandering around bookstores on Saturday afternoon, they probably haven't got a partner. They're probably going to be single. And why not? Go, if they're interested, go for it. If not, then say, we'll give you a number, we'll go and do it another time then. But then if you haven't built the rapport up, chances are you get their number and they're not going to answer you. That happens a lot. If you're interested, then do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna, once we put out this interview, that's it. I'm gonna send this guy this link. I'll be like, listen to this. This is what you need to do.
Well, what do you think? If you were single and you're in a bookstore and you talk to a guy and then you get on really well, would you go for a coffee with him straight away if you're interested?
If you would have like a very funny opening type of thing about a book, then yes, I would. Because that straight away, it would spark my interest, because it would tell me already that he's smart. He maybe read a book, which is important for me, hence why I'm in a bookstore myself. Otherwise, I would be in the gym. So if someone, would open up with a funny line about something in the gym and I'm passionate about it, it would, tickle me in a way, because, it's something I like as well. And that's like a common ground that we can talk about. We can have something in common. And then, if they would just say, let's grab a coffee next door, I'd be like, okay, sure. Especially if I like the guy, I like it how he looks or how, he comes across. And then, as you say, I would prefer to actually have a date-ish type of thing, like a coffee or a drink together. And then deciding whether I actually want to give him my number or not, because as you said, I totally agree, especially as a woman dating, it can be quite dangerous many times, and you never know who's like a psycho or not, because, in olden times, it used to be somewhat easier because you would kind of date locally-ish. You would always have friends in common, family in common, someone in common that you could ask, is this person normal? Like, is he gonna murder me if I go out with him? Like, this type of stuff. And these days, you don't know anymore. You don't really know anything about a person other than what they tell you. Unless you literally have, again, friends in common or something. I think I would be actually more comfortable in doing that. And then, once you find out a bit more about that person, you're more comfortable to give them their number.
Yeah, because it's a way of screening them very quickly. Yeah. And if they open enough and you're interested enough to start with based on the initial opening line in conversation, you're going to be curious. And when you're curious, it's a good time to strike and to go for that date. And it's not even a date, it's just a 15-minute coffee if you want to. Yeah. And if not, you can say, look, I can't right now, I'm really busy. I've got a boyfriend, whatever it might be, get out of it. And then you got the answer, it doesn't matter. But there's no harm in trying, because people who are wandering around these places at weekends probably have got time to kill. And there's a good chance to get them when they're in the mood to having a nice conversation with somebody fun and interesting, and interested in them as well.
Yeah, I love this so much. So another question that I often got was how to approach someone that you really, really like, or maybe you're even in love with, and they might not share the same feelings, or they might be scared to share them with you, you know? So how could they do this, let's say one-sidedly? So how can they approach this issue from their own side, and they don't know whether that person actually likes them or how to get them to like them and so on?
Yeah, it's a very tricky situation because when you first meet somebody, you will pigeonhole them in a certain category. It could be a business partner, it could be a friend, it could be a boyfriend, it could be something a bit more casual. And if you've done that and you get to know them, you become friends, for example, it's hard to then recategorize them as a potential partner. But it does not stop people getting crushes on people, and it does happen. Often two friends might be best friends and both are too scared to do something about it. On the other hand, you might be very nervous about ruining the relationship by being a bit too forward. The best thing to do in that situation is pretty much just to ask them out and say, what are you doing Friday? Do you fancy going for a drink with me? Something like that. If they want to go for a drink with you, they say, what, as a date? Why not? Let's go on a date, see what happens. And see how open-minded. If they're completely closed to it, so, oh no, I can't go on a date with you, you're my friend, that's your answer. If they're open-minded to it or they jump at the chance, that's all you have to do. Don't overthink it. There's no need to have a long conversation about I really like you or da la la la. That's too much pressure for anybody. And if they did like you back, just go for a drink and then see what happens. And you can chat about things and open up and say, well, do you know, I've always thought about, you know, you're the one that's been in front of me the whole time. I should go and give you a chance, and then joke about it. And then you never know. It's worth a go. Life's too short not to try. And if you do it the nice, friendly way without making a big deal, you're not going to get rejected. It's not going to be a big issue at all.
Yes, I love this, especially the last part of it, you know, because even as a woman dating, that was many times grueling to me because these people that they were nice people, but they're not my type of people. You know, they would come and ask me out and I'd be like, how can I say no without hurting their feelings and without getting them to actually disappear? You know, because I had that sometimes happen where I just said, I'm sorry, no, I'm not interested. And they would just disappear totally. And some of them, especially if they would be from the same workplace as me, they would literally not talk to me anymore, you know, or they would just like ghost me totally. Like even if we would walk on the same like hallway, they would literally turn around and move the other way. And I'm like, dude, I just said no, like it. You know, like what was that about? So yeah, that's like actually quite a very nice way to approach people. I love that. And it's so, you know, it doesn't put any pressure on any of the parties. You know, like if they say no, then fine, you kind of have to move on anyway. If they say yes, then yeah, great.
It's very unlikely if they're your friend that if you say to them, do you want to go for a drink? They say, no, of course not. I'm not going to make you feel stupid and make a big deal about it. They're not going to do that. They might be a bit, not need to think about it a little bit sometimes, but there's no harm in it. Give it a go. Then at least you can move forwards. Don't be embarrassed by it. They'll probably respect you even more for trying.
That's been great, James. So much good advice. I love it. And I really want to thank you as well for giving us exact examples that people can also use, you know, because one thing that, you know, one of the main reasons why Robert and I created the Better Topics game is because we wanted to give people an exact tool that they can use. So they don't have to think of the questions, what to ask and how to ask them. We thought of those, you know, just get the game and play it and then start improving your relationship. And this is something very similar to what you've done now, where, you know, you give people exact tools of, you know, what they can say, how they can say it, where exactly. Because what I find is with many dating coaches that many times they give you very, very broad type of advice, you know, that yes, it would be a good advice for a big range of people, but to nobody in particular. You know, nobody specifically can draw out anything specific and useful that they can use straight away on the spot and so on. So thank you so much for your time today, James. Let my audience know where they can find you.
Sure, well, you can come to my website, which is www.jamespreece.com. That's Preece, or go onto my Instagram, which is James Preece Coach. If you do go to my book or go onto Instagram, you can click the link and download my latest free book, which is about how to attract your soulmate. So lots of things we talked about earlier about writing lists out and working out what you really want. So maybe you'll find that useful.
Yes, the list thing, I kept hearing about it even before I wrote my list. And I was like, yeah, I know in my head what I want. I was like, always like, I know it. I want like 2-3 things and that's it. And then I read this book about Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, where God, was saying in the book that we all choose what we attract in this life, whether consciously or not. Everything we have in our life, we've chosen it and we've attracted it. So I said, okay, if I can choose anything, how would that person be? Like anything in this world. Let's play a mind game where anything I want can be possible. How would that look? Because I had no idea. I never actually thought about how would that person look in great detail, So then I started writing, and I had like 21 bullet points, and it was fine. And 2 months later, I've met my husband, and it was amazing that he had all of those points, all of those characteristics and personality traits and values and everything. And then later on, when we started dating, and I told him about the list, he actually confessed that he had his own list. Now he has written his list slightly differently than me. I wrote it like in a bullet point type of style, and his was a 7-page essay, which he wrote about 3 years prior. Now, it was 3 years prior, and he didn't really pay too much attention to the list because at that point in time, he was in a relationship. And he did say that that partner that he had at that point in time of writing the list, she wasn't meeting all of the criteria in his list, just like maybe 70-75% type of thing. But then when he met me and when we started to get to know each other and everything, he was blown away that I was meeting all of his criteria. Now, when I say 7 pages, it was quite detailed, even to the point that, dark hair and green eyes and the languages that we speak and the values that we have and all of that. But what he did was, he described certain situations, like in this type of situation, if this happens, she would react this way. If this happens, this way, and like that. And when I read it, it was like reading, the personality tests that you get sometimes online, and you get this full report of what type of person you are, how you it was like that. I was like reading one of those, and I'm like, oh my God, he's describing me to a T. So I love the fact that you mentioned the list and you're getting clear, because I also believe that that's the first step, in getting out there. And then the second one is, as you mentioned, pouring yourself out there, and then approach them, but in a nice and friendly and, chilled type of way.
I think there's one more thing to add to this, which is quite important. It was touched upon in the first question about the perfect partner. There is no such thing as the perfect partner or the perfect relationship, because relationships are ongoing, aren't they? You're always working on them together as a team and to improve them. There is no perfect person. If it was perfect, life would be very, very boring, and you'd be challenged and you thought, what's going on? This isn't right. It becomes perfect by constantly evolving. So you have to keep working. So does a partner. So I had a list of 20 things. My wife had these 20 things, it turns out. But then things, as you get older, things change. Because you've got these things, your needs will change, your requirements, your life goals will change. So do remember that the person you're with is still a work in progress, and you never stop having conversations. Hence better topics, of course, because you need to keep evolving, don't you?
Yes, exactly. I mean, many times I think I do love movies in general, and I love, romantic movies, especially because they're funny, they're light, they're, always ending in a good note and everything. But I think what they do is they ruin the perception of what a relationship actually is. Because, they show you the beginning of it. They show you when they meet, something happens, they break up, they move past that, and they end up together, and everyone is happy, living happily ever after. Nobody really shows you what's happening after that. After the wedding, after they are together, what's happening. And I think many people have this preconception that, okay, I just have to put in a lot of effort in the beginning to get this person to either, be in a relationship with them or marry them or whatever. And then that's it. I can relax after that. I've put in a bit of effort in the beginning, and then I can lay back and all is going to be fine and pink all day. But it's not like that. As you mentioned, James, relationships do take work. But what we want to show people is that work doesn't necessarily need to be grueling or chore type of work where it's like tedious and, boring even maybe. It can be fun if you choose to make it so.
It should be. Dating is supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, you're doing it wrong. That's what I tell people all the time. And you don't stop dating when you get into a relationship, when you get married. It continues always. You have to make time for each other and to keep on growing.
Yes. I would want to just add to that. Yes, you're dating, but your partner, not others.
Oh, yes, of course, with each other.
I mean,
yes.
unless the partners have a different type of relationship where they both agree to it, then
that's another podcast, probably another day.
Yes, because I kept reading about it in the news as well, and apparently it's the new fashion.
It is, and it's not something that I really teach people, because I teach people to focus on the one. And even the fact that is there a one? Are there many people? It depends. But I think just, if you can't get somebody, starting with one is always a good point. don't make yourself too challenged.
That is very true. Thank you, James, again so much for your time today. I had so much fun. I feel like we can talk about this topic, for hours and hours and not finish. Again, guys, if you want to, reach out to him, or if you want to find out about James' work, make sure to check out his website, which is jamespreece.com. I will leave links for this as well in the description box below. Again, for those of you who want the game, don't forget to get it as well in the description box below. I left links there. And James, any last words for our audience?
No, well, thank you very much for having me. It's been great to chat with you again. All I would say, I honestly believe now is a really positive time for dating. We're coming out of the pandemic. Everyone's had a good chance to think about what they want. Don't delay your happiness anymore. Go out there and start meeting somebody, because there's somebody perfect for you out there. I say perfect in a very loose sense, of course, but I mean someone amazing for you who is waiting for you. But if you don't open that door, you don't get online, you don't go to that event, it's not going to happen. Don't delay it. Get on with it now. And then before you know it, you'll be in a happy relationship.
And if you have any issues after that, James is here to help you with
yes,
dating.
exactly.
I'm here to help you with relationships. Just reach out to us and then we'll help you.
We're here. We love doing this. It's a great job to have, and we're quite lucky to do this, aren't we?
Yes. I feel really blessed every day, especially when I can actually see that, people are giving amazing feedback, and how we're helping their relationships is just so heartwarming.
It is. It's great. It's a strange times, but we can help people make a difference to make sure the rest of your life is going to be happy. Yeah.
Thank you, James, again for your time today, and hope to see you soon.
You too. Bye for now.
This has been such a great interview, and I'm so happy and excited for you guys to have all these tools and tips from James that you can use in your dating life. Before I go, make sure to check out the Better Topics game, either the physical card game or the app. And just remember, I left links for this in the description box below. And if you like the video, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe, so I get notified that you like this type of content, and I'll bring on some more important and interesting guests. And don't forget to also share it with your friends, because you never know who needs to hear this.